All right, so here at League, we do not double broker. And we're going to talk a little bit about why. And there's 5 big reasons of why you should not be double brokering. And some of them are pretty obvious. But number 1 is liability. We are not in contract with the carrier that actually has the load. So that whole contract, that whole carrier packet that we have to have carriers, set up before we'll actually run with them. Well, we don't have one with the carrier that's actually doing the load. And so obviously this is a problem. They're not agreeing to our terms. They're not contractually bound by what's written in that document. And so the person who's actually signing it isn't actually hauling the freight. When it comes to insurance purposes and legal reasons, we just cannot double broker. And so you might think, hey, can't we just go after the other person? Well, that is true. We could do that. But because of how insurance is and because we are a broker and we have contingent insurance, right? We talk about that a lot about cargo and auto liability contingent as brokers instead of carriers. If we hire another broker, they're likely to have the same kind of insurance that we have. And so there's a good chance that the insurance company for them is not going to pay out until the carrier still has to have their insurance deny the claim. So if that claim gets denied by the carrier, then it goes to the other broker. Then finally it comes to us after 2 denials from 2 different insurance companies. This could be 60 days, 90 days, 120 days down the road, depending on the claim, what all is involved in that claim. And so it just does not work from a liability standpoint for us or any broker. Number 2 is being back solicited. Don't get another broker involved in your book of business. It is so hard to close customers. Why in the world would you show another broker your book of business and give them an idea on what the rates are on those lanes for them to actually go to the customer and say, hey, I could do it for this amount, because they're actually finding trucks for those exact lanes because they're the ones really running them. So protect your book of business and don't get back solicited. All right, number 3 is going to be communication. Guys, this is a big one. Communication is everything. That is what we sell. That is our service, right? What we offer isn't a product. It's a service. It's my service. It's my customer service. It's my access to these carriers, of course. But in reality, there's lots of different brokers, and they're going to work with which one that they feel like they can depend on to give them updates timely, okay? To tell them about issues timely. So anytime we're talking about communication, we're talking about we need to get back to the customer on any type of delays, issues, even just ETAs, product being rejected, whatever. And there can't be a gap in communication, and there can't be a time lapse in communication. It can't take forever for us to get back to the customer and say, hey, this is what's going on. The truck's going to be late. Yeah, I know it's going to be late. You're supposed to be there 2 hours ago. This is an appointment. You can't do that. And when you have another broker in the middle, it's just one more person that you have to go through to get your updates. And then it can make it look like you don't know what you're doing, right? If you don't know where the truck is, how does that look on us, on you as a broker? It looks terrible to the customer. Or, sometimes you have to go to a dispatcher, and the dispatcher doesn't know where the truck is either. It's just another layer that you do not need. Always get drivers' phone numbers, of course, but it's just another layer that you don't need and can really mess up how quick you're able to communicate any type of issues with your customers. All right, number 4 is going to be rates. Obviously, if you are paying somebody else and they're paying somebody else, they are making enough money by doing your job, by the way, to make a living as a secondhand broker. There's an issue here. It seems like you need to be finding, if that is you, obviously I don't think it's anybody here, but if you are using another broker and you know about it, you should know that you're overpaying. Somebody else is making a broker's living off of your brokered book of business. And that's terrible. You're leaving money on the table. There's absolutely no reason for it. Try to find those relationships, build your carrier base, and find carriers that can do what you need to on those lanes through you. All right, and number 5, and probably most important out of any of these, is because it's just being lazy. Seriously, it's just being lazy. Do your job. You're a broker. Why in the world would you sub that out to another broker? I don't get it. I know that some brokers have those relationships. I've never really seen it myself, but obviously it happens. And it just makes absolutely no sense to me. If you want to give your book to another broker because you don't feel like doing the job of being a broker and finding those trucks, then you just don't need to be a broker. That's what it comes down to. If you don't want to do the job, you shouldn't be the job, right? You shouldn't be the broker. And so there's no reason for it. It's just lazy. Don't do it. Put the money in your pocket instead.